3 days ago, Anthropic's chief product officer quietly filed a piece of paper with the SEC. He resigned from Figma's board. 72 hours later, the reason hit the internet. Anthropic launched Claude Design, an AI tool that turns English sentences into polished prototypes. It reads your codebase, memorizes your brand, and hands a finished design to Claude Code like a bored senior designer tossing a Jira ticket over the wall. Figma stock dropped 7% in a single afternoon. Adobe slid with it, and the boardroom drama had a name attached. Mike Krieger, the guy who built Instagram. Now, before you clutch your pixels, Claude Design is not a full Figma replacement. It is a research preview for Pro, Max, Team, and Enterprise subscribers, baked into the existing plan at no extra charge. You describe what you want. Claude Opus 4.7 spits out the first version, and then you refine with comments, sliders, or direct edits on the artboard. Upload a codebase, and Claude writes a design system using your actual colors, fonts, and components. Paste a screenshot of a competitor, and Claude will riff on the vibe. Hit one button, and your design gets packaged into a handoff bundle that Claude Code compiles into a production build. Canva is already partnered. Figma apparently was the last to know. Here's the part that broke Wall Street. Figma is a publicly traded company valued around $10 billion. Its entire pitch is that designers need a shared canvas, a component library, and a common thread. Anthropic just argued that most of that ritual is overhead for anyone who is not shipping a pixel-perfect design system. Founders prototyping an MVP do not need multiplayer cursors. Product managers building a pitch deck do not need auto layout nodes. Marketing leads writing a landing page do not need a plug-in marketplace. What they need is a first draft they can tweak in English. And Anthropic just bundled that for free inside a subscription they already pay for. It is April 20th, 2026, and you are watching Indie Hacker News. Let us talk about the man who pulled the trigger. Mike Krieger co-founded Instagram in 2010, sold it to Facebook 2 years later for $1 billion, and then spent a decade building a moody newsreader called Artifact that Yahoo eventually scooped up. In 2024, he joined Anthropic as Chief Product Officer. Less than a year ago, Figma handed him a board seat. Design leadership, AI fluency, startup pedigree, it made sense on paper. But on April 14th, Krieger walked. The SEC filing hit the wire the exact same day that the information published a scoop saying Opus 4.7 would ship with native design tools. That is not a coincidence. That is a founder doing his legal homework before his new employer eats his old employer's lunch. So how does Claude Design actually pull this off? First, it runs on Opus 4.7, Anthropic's most capable vision model, released literally 1 day before Claude Design dropped. That means it can look at a screenshot of your dashboard and understand button hierarchy, spacing, and typography, not just copy the pixels. Second, onboarding scans your codebase for React components, Tailwind classes, and CSS variables. It extracts a living design system and saves it as a project context you reuse. Third, every artifact is both a canvas and a prompt. You click a card, type, please make this more stripy, and Claude regenerates just that component, not the whole page. Fourth, when you're done, the export menu hands you Canva, PDF, PPTX, plain HTML, or a handoff bundle for Claude Code. That last one is the kill shot. It means your prototype compiles into a real React app with one/command. Brilliant. The learning startup told Anthropic their complex pages used to take 20+ prompts in other tools. In Claude Design, the same page took 2 prompts. Datadog's product manager Anish Kathini said what took a week of briefs, mockups, and review rounds now happens in a single conversation. Now, before we get too giddy, designers on Hacker News spent the weekend sharpening their knives. One commenter, JJK166, called out the obvious problem. 90+% of attempts at truly unique UIs produce mind-blowingly bad UIs. Translation: a model trained on the average internet dashboard will spit out an average internet dashboard. Another dev admitted they burned through 95% of their weekly Claude usage just playing with it, calling the tool a plaything. And critically, Claude Design cannot host your app, connect a database, handle auth, or process a payment. Lovable and Bolt can. Figma Dev Mode still owns the actual handoff to production workflow that matters when a real team ships. What Anthropic is really selling is a reduction in the awkward middle step, the part where you have a mockup and you need something between a Figma file and a production React component. That middle is 80% of product work, and now it costs 1 prompt. So here is the full picture. Anthropic is not just a model provider anymore, it is a product company that ships apps on top of its own tokenizer. Mike Krieger, the guy who built the original visual social network, just aimed his next weapon at the visual design market. Figma still owns the professional canvas. Canva still owns the template library. But the messy middle ground where most of us actually live belongs to whoever owns the model that already reads your codebase. Anthropic now owns that middle. 3/4 of the knowledge work stack goes through a design handoff. The company that makes that handoff feel like a chat window wins the next cycle. If you want the full daily breakdown with every quote, every stock chart, and the leaked memo, nobody else covered, the Indie Hacker newsletter ships it every morning. Link in the description. See you tomorrow.